Well, I'm joined now by Tobias Elwood, former chair of the Defence Select Committee. Good to get you on the programme this evening. I'll ask you about John Healey's words in a moment. But first of all, let's talk about this Russian spy ship. How concerned should we be?
Very concerned indeed. As you were just hearing then, this is what Putin now does, not just in Britain off our coast here, but we saw those drone incursions in Poland and other parts of NATO. What Putin is trying to do is distract and disrupt us from taking our eye off of the ball on supporting Ukraine. And it shows an ever confident, ever robust Kremlin in wishing to do this. It shows that we really do need to put the fire out in Ukraine because Putin has other intentions further afield. I'm pleased to see the response by Britain today. I would like to see us go further. If this does prove to be a hostile threat in British waters, it should be escorted away, because what President Putin is doing is setting precedents to grey zone warfare, testing us, seeing how we respond. And if we don't respond firmly at the very, very start, we're certainly going to get more of this. The Yenta, should stress, is actually a ship designed to cut undersea cables. That will be the next thing that we will see, disrupting our way of life in that grey zone space, which we need to get on top of.
John Healey saying there we will respond and deter and deal with any aggression. I mean, how likely is it that things could escalate? Not necessarily with this ship, but we're seeing more and more examples, as you've outlined, those drone incursions, for example. It wouldn't take a great deal for things to suddenly turn.
Well, having understanding the escalatory ladder is absolutely critical in our statecraft, in knowing how far and how fast we can push Russia back. But as we saw in Ukraine, the length of time it's taken us to provide the necessary assets, equipment, munitions for Ukraine to push back at Russia, we can't delay here in standing up to Russia. Otherwise, it will take advantage of our timidity. And that, I'm afraid, is what grey zone warfare is all about. We spend a lot of time talking about hard power, our conventional capabilities, but I'm afraid this is now going to be the norm of how you actually disrupt our economy, how you disrupt our society, how you disrupt our politics as well as distract us, our conventional capabilities. Who knows what Russia is doing while we now focus on the North Sea? They'll be focusing elsewhere. This is what we need to get good at. Good to see the Defense Secretary visiting a company that can make unmanned capabilities, but it's all very, very late in the day. The world is changing very, very fast, and we do need to keep up.
It's interesting hearing what the Defence Committee has said, and I quote here, they say we are nowhere near where we should be for defending ourselves and our allies as well. It seems to me that what you're saying is the government is going in the right direction, but it's just far too slow.
Yeah, I commend John Healey for pushing the Treasury to get more money. And we've secured that in the Defence Review. But that won't really come to fruition until 2035, and the world will look very different then. We can see how things are changing. In the North Sea today is a great example of that. So we need extra funds to come in to make sure that we're able to have that resilience and that capability to stand up to these latest threats, this change in warfare that we're actually seeing. And until that actually happens, I'm afraid we're going to get a big shock. Something large will happen. Our air defenses aren't there. We haven't got a tactical nuclear deterrent as well. And our conventional warfare, our Army, Air Force and Navy are hollowed out after decades when there wasn't a requirement. But now the world has changed. It is more dangerous, and we do need to step up.
Let's just talk briefly about China as well. What about their spying activities? How nervous are you about recent reports? So the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson telling Sky News this week it has no interest in gathering intelligence on the UK. Of course, they would say that, wouldn't they?
Of course they would. And that's exactly what they are doing all around the world. It's collecting intelligence, collecting data, stealing intellectual property. This is what China does, and it does it very, very well indeed. And it starts at an early stage. It's by linking in on through social media, making contacts with parliamentarians and their staff, establishing a sense of trust, and then learning about what's going on. And eventually, potentially recruiting people to work for China. So this is the world that we now live in. It's good that the Speaker of the House and indeed the Security Minister has called this out, but it requires all of us to be more vigilant. It's indeed our openness of our society which makes us more vulnerable compared with China. But this is what China does, and again, we need to stand up to it.
OK, we'll leave it there. Tobias Elwood, former chair of the Defence Select Committee. Thanks, as always.
Thank you.